December. The end of the year that everyone's looking forward to. Especially in 2020. God, can we please get this year over and done with? The time for family. The time for friends. And if you have neither, sitting blankly in front of a screen that flashes various images and audio at you, slowly etching information into your mind. Remember to like and subscribe. Yes, of course I'm referring to the wonderful gift of television. Which, you know, happened to be invented in December, so this whole Christmas time makes a lot of sense. Please don't click off the video, I'm begging you, I need the money. And one of the most common ways of presenting television, or media in general actually, that I'm quite fond of, is animation. Yeah, that's right, I don't just sit at home and play video games all day, I also watch children's shows. More macho than you. Holy crap, it's Mortimer f***ing Mel! Animated TV, or cartoons, are very interesting to talk about. There are so many stories to be told, and animation helps them become more expressive and memorable. Gravity Falls, Regular Show, Infinity Train, all of these shows have amazing original stories that older audiences can enjoy, while still being child friendly. Some of these shows go on for a long while, some of them are short-lived, but like all things, they have to end at some point. Unless they don't. Animated reboots are basically old TV shows dragged from their graves and reimagined for modern audiences a few years later, mainly because studios are running out of ideas and want to profit off of household names they know have worked before in the past, instead of taking risks with new IPs. Now reboots themselves can range from amazing to terrible. So let's have a look at some reboots to find out. Should they stay dead, or are they worth reviving? Okay, I've handpicked 4 reboots I want to talk about today. No spin-offs, no recurring franchises, just one and done reboots. Without further ado, let's begin with... I do not like Teen Titans Go whatsoever. It is basically, in my opinion, the best example of a bad reboot I can think of. And if you like this show, all the power to you. I'm not here to tell you what you can and can't watch, I'm just here to share my personal opinion, so just try and keep that in mind during the rest of this video. But first, let's take a step back. The original series was something else entirely. The storytelling was great, the characters had actual depth and emotion, and the art style was beautiful. It's clear to see that this show's art style took a lot of inspiration from anime, and I'm all for it. I never grew up with this show, or any of the other shows on this list actually, so there's no nostalgia bias from me, this show is fantastic. However, and a small spoiler warning for those who haven't seen the original ending, its final moments are a bit disappointing. So imagine this, it's 2013, and you hear a new Teen Titans TV show is coming to Cartoon Network. You check out the channel only to see that your favourite characters have been reduced to this. Yeah. Teen Titans Go takes the original characters and completely throws them out of the window, turning them into irresponsible, over-exaggerated shells of their former selves. The animation is cheap, the art style is lazy, and the show doesn't even take itself seriously. It constantly relies on its quote-unquote humour to get by, and mocks their fanbase as well as fans of the original series. The two groups of people they actually need in order to survive on the network. There's an entire episode of Go which is just an episode from the original, but dubbed over stupidly. In order to try and be funny? I don't really know what they were going with, apart from trying to annoy fans of the original series, which, it did that right.
Maybe I don't want a cake. Maybe I want a mustache.
Here we go again with the mustache.
Next time you see me, I'm gonna have a mustache.
Mustache.
How do I feel about Teen Titans Go? Buddy, you have no idea. Teen Titans Go not only ruins the legacy of the original show, but it completely rubs its nose in the dirt by getting something that the original never got. A cinematic movie. It is literally an hour and 32 minutes of fart jokes and crude humour that no one with more than 2 brain cells would ever find funny. And when I thought this film couldn't become more of a train wreck, they decided to turn one of DC's scariest and most meticulous killers into a walking punchline. They had him get defeated by a rap, of all things. Slade's final words in the movie are, "That song was monumentally dope." Not only did Teen Titans Go receive one film, they got two somehow. Teen Titans Go did a crossover with the original series, but it didn't get the luxury of a cinematic release. Much like with Slade in the first film, Teen Titans Go vs Teen Titans makes a mockery of its main villain Trigon. The writers of this film obviously decided it would be hilarious to put a world-devouring demon in a pink Pringle jumper of all things. To me, a DC fanatic and huge fan of these characters, Teen Titans Go just feels wrong on every level, reducing some of the darkest villains and heroes in DC history to a bunch of jokes. Hopefully, in the future, this show can find its place alongside some of DC's other failed projects, but for now, all we can do is wait.
So yeah, Teen Titans Go is a shameless cash grab that exploits bright colours and random sounds in order to try and get the attention of everyone under the age of 4. It craps all over the original series, it plagues Cartoon Network's timetable, and I hope it burns. Now, despite that absolute dumpster fire of a show, good reboots do exist. I think it's about time we talk about Ducktales 2017 isn't just a good reboot, it's an amazing show. It not only pays homage to the original, but surpasses it, building off of what was there before, while still giving fans of the original more than enough to sink their teeth into. The original show was all about Scrooge McDuck, the richest person in the world, going on daring adventures, whilst learning that in the end, family is the greatest adventure of all. Oh my god, that was cheesier than a Domino's in France. Anyway, the original was pretty good. It was based off of old Disney comics, and I think it really helped bring those characters to life. However, there were definitely some improvements to be made. The triplets were pretty much the same characters, Mrs. Bigley was just a stereotype for grandma, and Webby was just girl. You get the idea. However, in the modern adaptation, all of these characters have been reimagined while still keeping their original charm. It's like the characters have grown alongside the viewers of the original show. Huey, Dewey and Louie all have distinct personalities and are actually their own separate characters now. Mrs. Bigley is a martial artist and spy, and Webby is an eager, confident optimist. Almost every character has been revised to suit a modern audience. My favourite examples have to be Magico and Glomgold. Oh my god, they're both riotous to watch.
Cool! Then give them back!
Now you're susceptible to vampires.
Is that shark wearing a parka?
I call it a sharka.
I'm going to miss being a planet.
This show takes the formula of the old show and expands upon it in so many different ways, even bringing in characters from other 80s and 90s Disney shows, like Rescue Rangers, Darkwing Duck and more. This entire reboot is a huge love letter to the original comics, the original shows, and the original fans, but that doesn't mean it alienates new people, far from it. It introduces new characters that are a blast to watch, the animation is stellar, and the storytelling is amazing. This show is a reboot done right. It's crafted with so much love and respect for the original show, while still doing its own original thing. Unfortunately, it's been confirmed that its current season is going to be its last, so if you ever get the chance, please give it a watch. I promise you, it'll be worth it. Alright, we're at the halfway point. Thank you for sticking through the video this far. This video's been in the works for a long time, and they take a while to make too, so if you're bored of waiting for the next one, tune into one of our live streams and hang out with me for a bit. I stream every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday at 7 PM UK time, here on YouTube and on Twitch at twitch.tv/DanVoltz, links in the description below. They're generally a good time, and you get to see me rage at video games, so it's a win-win. Anyway, enough of the ad break. We've looked at one bad reboot and one good reboot, but TV is never just objectively good or bad. Shows can succeed or suck for different reasons. Case in point, The Powerpuff Girls is a very deceptive TV show. The characters have very simplistic designs and look like your average young girl protagonists. However, this show has amazing fight scenes and is incredibly violent. There are a lot of adult jokes that fly over children's heads, engaging stories, and again, the fight scenes, they literally beat up Satan in the intro and blood comes flying out of his mouth. Oh my god, it's great. This show stars 3 young girls with superpowers due to them being created in an experiment gone wrong. And they use their powers to save the day because the town's mayor can't do anything, do your job! However, these innocent looking children are actually murder machines who literally use the bad guys as an outlet for their aggressive anger issues, and it's hilarious to watch. So yeah, although the characters are little girls, this show is not just for kids and is enjoyable for everyone. You'd think the reboot would... Wrong! The Powerpuff Girls reboot turns the show into a slice of life fun at school type of show, filled with outdated memes and failed attempts at being funny. It's like they were trying to do what Ducktales did, taking the characters and modernising them, but they didn't do it right. The animation is incredibly lazy, littered with errors, and the art style just tries to copy the original, which doesn't work. It looks more like a fan animation than a revival. Something people have been begging for since the series went into limbo, and most recent appearances we'd seen from these characters were an anime adaptation and a 2014 special. I can't make this up. The once menacing villains had now been reduced to comic relief. Now they're all just hindrances to the main characters, or they only appear when the show is running out of plot points. It tries to be modern, but it's like a middle-aged dad trying to be hip for his kids. It doesn't work and it makes me want to be sick. The new adaptation tries imitating the original whilst completely ignoring and axing key aspects of the original that made it so special, like the theme song, characters, and the way the show actually works. But it goes one step further than Teen Titans Go by trying to disguise itself as something it's not. At least Teen Titans Go has the integrity to admit it's not trying to be the original, and when this show tries to do something new, it's always a marketing ploy to try and sell more figurines and lunchboxes. This show tried making a 4th Powerpuff Girl that looks like a DeviantArt OC, and they axed her a few episodes later. Why? So they could make money. Personally, I think it's better to just leave this franchise until someone can actually do the original justice, and that goes for pretty much all reboots. If you can't do it right, don't do it. Okay, we've only got one more reboot to cover today, so let's get on with it. Animaniacs was a TV show that wasn't afraid to pull any punches, delving into politics, global issues, and whatever was going on in the world at the time. The show was very meta, very funny, and encapsulated the heart and soul of a 90s TV show. There was a wide array of characters with different personalities and designs, and there were plenty of sketches and stories to be told with these self-aware, wisecracking characters. However, when I saw Animaniacs was going to make their grand return in 2020, I wasn't very hopeful. You see, Animaniacs was able to get away with a lot when it originally aired. The show was always educational, but the adult aspects also made the show very entertaining for older audiences, which is why the show still holds up to this very day, despite being very centered around the time it was airing. Nowadays, there's a lot of censorship when it comes to what's allowed on television, so hearing that they'd be bringing the Warners back left a sour taste in my mouth. And boy am I ever glad to be wrong. The Animaniacs reboot is very much like the original. It makes fun of politics, companies, and even the concept of reboots despite being in one themselves. The reboot is so up to scratch with the current world, so that when they reference pop culture, they know how to make it funny, unlike Powerpuff Girls, which tries way too hard and ends up being forced and cringy. The animation isn't exactly like the originals, but it's still very, very good. It somehow manages to redefine the old 90s animation style into something familiar yet refreshing, and it helps bring these characters to life in a more modernised way. They even go as far as to address multiple changes that are in the reboot, whether that be catching up with characters or picking things up where they left off. They even made an entire episode explaining the canonical reason why a lot of the original cast is missing. However, behind the scenes, this change lets the Warners get more time in the spotlight, and new characters are also slowly being integrated so the show can be a bit more experimental without harming the original legacy. This reboot feels like a proper continuation of the original, and that's the best part. Same writers, same voice actors, but none of them have lost their creative touch, not one bit. It's really difficult to put into words the kind of happiness I get from watching this show. It's incredibly clever, it knows what it's doing, and it knows what it's talking about. I can't really think of a lot of negative changes. The show changes enough to get modern, but not enough to lose its charm. In my opinion, that's the best balance for a reboot. And that, ladies and gents, leaves us with one burning question. Are reboots worth it? Should cartoons be re-jolted and brought back from the dead? Or should animation lean more towards originality? Honestly, I can't answer that question for you. Reboots are a safe way for companies to make money with faces and characters that have been proven to profit. But the shows themselves will always be different to the original in many ways. As similar in tone the new Animaniacs is to the old one, there will always be differences as the show is catering to a modern audience, not a 90s one. I think that if reboots do continue, networks need to be more careful and restrictive with what they do. These are people's childhoods and nostalgia being used as a marketing ploy to make money. Teen Titans Go in its setup could have worked with different characters. The Powerpuff Girls reboot didn't even need to exist, and a plethora of companies saying, "That looks easy," is the reason we keep getting this garbage pumped out of Hollywood. It's just the easy way out. However, occasionally, we find diamonds shining in the rough that well deserve their place on TV and their place in my heart. And also, apparently Pinky and the Brain is adding a third mouse? I can't wait to see- Who let you in my house?